Where are you going? Where are you going? She saw the light bobbing up and down along the rutted dirt road that went along beside her farm. It was pitch black dark except for that light. She was leading her yak to the milking barn when the light passed her and she said, "Boy, where are you going?" A little while later, a factory worker on his way to the city to work the early shift saw the light too, and when he came alongside it, he pulled his 30-year-old Soviet Lada automobile to the side of the road and he said, Son, where are you going?" Well, the only reason they could see that light bobbing up and down along those dirt roads is because of a gift, the most unusual gift Kay and I had ever been requested to give at Christmas time. A headlamp. Our son John, our youngest, was serving in the Peace Corps in a small Azerbaijani village at the base of the Caucasus Mountains. And he wanted very much to be able to run before work in the morning, but he couldn't see anything there. It's pitch black. And so we sent him the headlamp and his care package for Christmas. You know, already the people in that small Muslim village thought he was pretty odd. He's the only American they had ever encountered. And he had some odd habits for them. But when he started running, when it was pitch black dark outside without someone chasing him with an AK-47, they thought he was downright strange. And so for the entire 2 years he served there, he would hear when he was running, John, where are you going?" Where are you going is the question that illuminates all of Christmas. Joseph, where are you going? Your young wife is 9 months pregnant, and the road is hard, and it's cold, and night is descending. Where are you going? "I'm going to Bethlehem," replies Joseph, "because Caesar has ordered it. So our firstborn will not be born at our home, but in the city of David." Shepherds, where are you going? Your sheep are already bedded down for the night. And don't you know it's dangerous to scale down those limestone hills when it's so dark outside? "We're going to the city," say the shepherds, "because we've heard the angels sing. And we must see this thing that has taken place. Jesus Christ, Son of God, where are you going? Your place is in heaven. And you, why would you risk yourself to these human beings that you created, knowing full well that some have hearts that are darker than night? I am the light of the world, says Jesus. And I'm going to show the people who love looks like. All of us? Where are we going? Seated out here on this chilly lawn, we could be at home drinking hot chocolate or hot toddies, watching Christmas reruns again, and eating rich food we don't need. Where are we going? We're going to greet the Christ child, and we'll ask love to stay with us. And what do we find? What do we find when we ask love to make his home with us? When we ask the Christ child to come and stay? We find that the walls between God and us are paper thin. This child born in Bethlehem is the embodiment of the Father. He is the presence of God on earth. He is the eternal who makes his home with mortals. And how appropriate that we put him in a feed trough, because he is the bread of life. He is the sustenance that every human being needs more than air. And when we begin to receive him into ourselves, all those trinkets and the wealth and the recognition and all those diversions melt down to nothing, because he is everything. The walls between God and you and me are now paper thin, because in him was life, and his life was the light of the world. We can also find that not only are the walls between God and us, not only are they paper thin, but we begin to see the walls within us separating our everyday life and our sacred life are actually paper thin too. As we begin to invite the Christ child, the embodiment of love, into our lives, we have a hard time telling whether we're at work or at play or at prayer. We become whole. Not schizophrenic, divided people, but whole, united people, made what we were supposed to be by God Almighty. And things no longer are just duty. I put this to the test in the last several weeks. You know, when Bishop Fry died and we buried him right here, I asked all of us to reach out to someone during Advent who didn't expect us to do so. And one thing I learned as an infantry officer, and I have learned certainly as a preacher, you don't ask people to do something you're not willing to do yourself. It's like a preacher who begs you to tithe who doesn't tithe himself. And so, I'll promise you, I was a little uneasy about this, but I chose a family in my neighborhood whom I didn't know, but I knew something was going on. There were more and more cars outside. I don't know, I just felt that things weren't right. The house was in bad repair. And so I began to give gifts all through Advent until finally, Kay and I were able to give enough food and stuff, hams and turkeys and stuff, that would sustain the family a longer time. And at one point, the mother I'd seen before, she's a lovely person, she came to our door and she said, "How did you know?" I said, "What, ma'am? Well, how did you know that my son had to move home with his whole family? How could you know?" Well, I didn't know, but God knew. And then Kay and I, were big walkers. And Kay's favorite walk is to walk from our house and go down to Breckenridge Park and walk around the zoo and the park. And we began early, actually before Advent really, months before Advent, we began to encounter this homeless young woman, an African-American woman. And she wouldn't even look at us. She wouldn't even lift her head. But gradually we just kept on saying hello to her, and eventually her head came up. Always has on more clothes than you think she needed. And finally, we stopped on the 22nd of December, and I said, where are you going to be on Christmas Eve? And she says, I don't celebrate the holidays. I quit celebrating the holidays. I said, well, will you be here at 9 a.m. on Christmas Eve? Because we're going to celebrate the holidays with you. And she said, yes. So Kay and I are walking down there this morning, howling winds. It's pretty daggum cold. And there she waited on us. And she told us her name. And she told us her story. And what I discovered in that is that when we do like Bishop Fry and Barbara Fry tried to tell us, when we do like love tries to tell us, the line between duty and love disappears. It completely disappears. That's what happens when we invite love in. And please don't take this as, oh golly, in pat, sanctified, give me a break. Most of you know me, you know. But that's what love does. And the third thing that occurs when we invite love into our life, when we invite the newborn Christ into our life, is that the walls between each other become paper thin. Yeah. The walls between you and me and everyone, they become paper thin. And we realize there's really not that much distance between us at all. During this holiday, I have been reading with 9 others in the parish the work of Evelyn Underhill. She was a Anglican spiritual leader who spent her best years trying to straighten out clergy like me, trying to do something with us. And this is what she says. I love this. I love this. She says, "Don't you know that Christ wants to play a duet with each one of us? Christ wants to play a unique duet with each one of us. And it's wonderful. But she says, if you want to hear the symphony, you've got to come and worship with others. If you want to hear the symphony, you have to come to be with others." And so today, on this chilly afternoon, Patrick, where are you going? I am going to be with you, because that's the only way I can hear the music of Christmas.